everyone, it's Helen from the Squiggly Careers podcast. Hope you're well. I wanted to give you a super quick summary of this week's podcast, which is on the topic of money. It is the third in our life skills series where Sarah and I focused on the areas to invest in outside of work, which can help you to improve your impact and performance inside of work. And so this week we're talking about money and your mindset towards money. And it's not an area we are expert in or actually particularly comfortable in either. So we borrowed a bit of brilliance from two books. One which is a little bit more, theoretical, psychological, lots of stories, which is the one that I read, The Psychology of Money by Housel. And then a very, very un-Sarah-like read, You Are a Badass at Making Money, which I think Sarah was uncomfortable just saying that book title. But that one is by Jen Sincero, part of the You Are a Badass series. Neither of them amazingly practical, so we had to work quite hard. In the podcast episode, we share some of the things that we learned from reading the books, I guess some of the insights that we took away, and then we tried to turn that into things that are as practical as possible for you to do and try out and apply in your career. So just a kind of very quick summary of some of the things that came out in our conversation. So from the book that I read, the Housel book about the psychology of money, I guess there were two big insights that I took away, actually. The first was the difference between being rich versus being wealthy. I thought that was a really interesting perspective about being rich is almost the cash that you flash. It's the money that you see. It's your current income that is spent, and it buys you nice meals and houses and holidays and all that good stuff. But being wealthy is different. Wealthy is unseen income. It's investments, and wealth lasts for longer. Being rich can run out. So I thought it was just interesting that sometimes you might see other people who are, appear to be wealthy, but actually what they are is rich. They are spending their current income because actually wealth is often unseen. And it's just, what are you more motivated by? Wealth lasts into your future. Riches can run out, but they're here today. Because what you're motivated by might influence your mindset towards those things. The other thing I thought was the relationship between your savings and your ego. And so there's a quote in the book that says that savings are the gap between your income and your ego. And the idea here is that a lot of our spending habits are driven by ego, apparently. So we're spending on things because it influences other people's opinions of us. And therefore, if you care less about what people think, you might be able to save more money, thus increasing your wealth. So, whether you believe it or not, I think it is interesting to think about those two things, the difference between savings and your kind of ego, and also the difference between being rich and being wealthy. In Sarah's book, some of the things that I thought were quite useful when we talked about were how you can influence your positive association with money. So a lot of people fear money. They fear talking about money. They have a negative relationship with money. I completely understand and get that. And so what we might need to do is sort of reset our relationship with money. What Jen Sincero advises people to do as part of this process of resetting your relationship with money is to write down 5 positive associations you have with money. So if I think about that for me, I think money gives me freedom and control. It gives me fun and food because I love food, and it gives me opportunities and access, which I appreciate is 6 things, but once you get started. If you can think about the positive associations, that might help you to reconnect and reset your relationship with money, not for it to be something that you can be scared of. And the other thing that she talks about is maybe writing down sort of a day in your dream life. And then thinking about the role that money might play in that. And then the third thing that she talks about is writing down what does money make you grateful for? So when you think about your life today, what does it make you grateful for? So I think about the safety and security of my family and my children in particular, and the opportunities for learning that I can create for them with money. And again, the dream life, the 5 positive associations, and the what does money make you grateful for can just help you to have a more positive relationship with money. So we talk about that and loads more. It is all summarized in the pod sheet. So maybe you don't like listening to podcasts, don't worry about it. It's 30 minutes of your day. If you haven't got time for that, you can always download the pod sheet. I'll put all the links to that in the comments so that you've got them, and it is always on amazingif.com. We have one more episode to go in this sort of special series that we've done, and that is on your relationships, how your relationships outside of work can influence your relationships and your performance inside of work. So lots of interesting stuff that we drove into there. Attachment theory, if any of you have looked into that, and also Amy Gallo's new book, which is all around the relationships that you can have at work. So that's what we're talking about next week, but would love to know what you think about this money episode. So if you do get a chance to listen, send us a message.